great friends in the field of jazz. Wonderful trumpet man and a wonderful friend, Al Hirt. How are you, Al?
I'm fine, Hugh. It's good to see you. It's always a pleasure to see you. We've done some interviews together.
Hasn't it been many, many years since we've done privately together when we chatted about your many escapades in the field of jazz?
Yeah,
huh?
Sure. It's been nice for me, and you've been wonderful. You got a great program. I understand you don't have it anymore.
Well, it's been a little change, but...
Why?
Well...
Get that man back on the air. It's too great.
Well, thank you, Al. We had a program on West Virginia Public Radio for a number of years, and about 2 years ago we were talking with you about particulars in the field of jazz on the Bourbon Street, the French Quarter. You were disturbed about what was happening, and you and the City Fathers were not getting along together at that time, and you said you were going to leave New Orleans and close your club. Did you ever resolve the dispute that you had or not?
Well, yes, no? I closed the club, and I leased the club out, and so I'm not working there anymore. Conditions haven't improved any. As a matter of fact, they've worsened since then. But I love New Orleans. It's my home, and I intend to live there. But I have to go outside of New Orleans now to play, to make a living.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's unfortunate, but New Orleans, it's not only New Orleans. I mean, lots of cities are the same way, you know. There's a lot of factors that go into it. One of the factors, and it's nobody's fault, it's just one of those things. There's a lot of musicians that play in the street. Street musicians. And, you know, if people can stay in the street and listen to music and ta-ta, you know, to pay anything, who's going to go in a club and pay money to hear it when they can hear it free in the street? So that's a factor. You know, nobody wants to operate a club anymore with jazz, and that's one of the reasons why. Of course, the economy is down, and now that the oil business is down, that Louisiana and New Orleans are suffering, you know. So, heck, I'm still get the opportunity. Thank the Lord that I have plenty of people that want me to play in other cities. So I do a lot of concerts like this, and I work with symphony orchestras a lot because I've had that kind of background. So I stay busy, Hugh.
I know that the governor of Louisiana made a statement here recently that he would like to have casino gambling and also lottery. Do you advocate that for happening for this?
Well, in my business, if it would help my business, certainly I'd advocate them trying it, controlled, of course. A lot of states have lotteries and so forth. You know, I wouldn't be adverse to seeing that happen in New Orleans, but the people are against it. They're not for it at all. They figure it's going to bring in the type of people they don't want to see. I don't know, though. I question that somewhat because I think if it's tightly controlled, that those problems won't be excessive, no more excessive, certainly, than the problems there now.
How about Preservation Hall after Alan Jaffe? He died here several weeks ago.
Yes, Alan was a good friend. It's going to survive because that's probably the only bastion left. That and the famous door is still going along, but they're struggling. But the Preservation Hall continues beautifully, and we all miss Alan, but the old guys still carry on the tradition.
Yes, but the old guys are not going to be around for much longer. What's going to happen?
Truth. There's some youngsters.
Do we have the younger people coming up with this feeling for jazz or not?
Not so many, but some, you know. And I don't know, it seems to me like some of the old guys are going to last forever. They're playing in their 80s and their 90s, and they're still playing. And but that's down the line. I expect there'll be some young fellows that'll want to carry on that tradition, you know. I certainly hope so.
You were talking about classical music. You went to Cincinnati Conservatory of Music. You got your start in the classical field. But didn't you start with Jimmy Dorsey and Tommy Dorsey's band?
I sure did. When I was in the service in World War II, and I was interested then in playing in big bands. I loved Dorsey and Benny Goodman and so forth. And so when I got out of the service, I played with Benny Goodman and Tommy Dorsey and Jimmy Dorsey and a lot of the bands. I played with so many of them.
How about Horace Heidt? He was a kind of a star maker, wasn't he?
Yeah, I played with Horace's band, and he had some great musicians in that band, even though he's a very commercial guy. I got a lot of my ideas, I guess, for the commercial aspect of my playing from Horace, who was a great showman, and I toured Europe with him. Then I decided to come back to New Orleans and start my own band. And I did that, and then I had some real fine players with me. I had Pete Fountain was my clarinet player when I started out, and
that was
Bobby Havens.
Dan's Pier, 600.
And Dan's Pier, and I had a trombone player named Bobby Havens who lives on the coast and is a marvelous player. We had a great band, and we used to do a CBS radio show and call that the Jazz Band Ball. We had a great deal of success with that. Then first, I started to record.
Tell me just about what is the future for jazz, particularly in the cradle of jazz, New Orleans?
I don't know. Right now it's bleak, but hopefully it'll pick up, and it'll last forever. However, the audiences are limited, and I hope that'll change.
And one of your proteges happens to be Wynton Marsalis.
Oh, well, he's not my protege. I wish I could say he was, but his father used to be my pianist. He's a marvelous trumpet player. Okay. One of the best I've ever heard.
Thank you
He's a
so
young
much,
fellow, great.
Keep up the
work.
work.
Thank you, Hugh. I hope you get your show back, man.
Well,
you're too good to be off the air.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, and from Hugh to you.